So watch me transform this brown skin beauty. If you're new to my channel, this is Cynthia Makeover, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much and God bless you. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I'm going to be using my wipe to clean up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. So next, I'm going to be hydrating the skin with my Kiss Beauty Spray to give the skin a little bit of hydration, after which I allowed it to dry into the skin. Before moving on to moisturizer, for moisturizer, I'm going to be using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize the skin. So I'm going to be applying it generously on the face, after which I allowed it to absorb into the skin before moving on to primer. For primer, I'm going to be using my Gentle Dove mattifying primer. I'm going to be applying it on her face, avoiding the areas underneath her eyes. So after applying the primer, I'm going to let it dry before moving on to foundation. For foundation, I used my L'Oreal foundation in the shade C7 on her face. So I first of all used a flat brush to apply it on her face. Then I went ahead spraying her face again for easy blending, after which I used my damp beauty sponge to blend the foundation into the skin. After blending in the foundation, I'm going to be locking it up with my Kiss Beauty Spray. This is going to help the foundation to stay intact. After that, I'm going to be drying it up immediately before moving on to cream contour. For cream contour, I'm going to be using this Nubanbeauty concealer in the shade 048. After blending in the contour, I'm going to be applying cream blush. I'm going to be mixing these two shades for my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend. After blending, next is to highlight the face. I'm going to be using my Milani concealer in the shade 160 to highlight her face. After applying the concealer, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So after blending in the concealer, I'm going to be contouring the nose with the same shade I used to contour the face. So I'm using a flat brush to apply it first before using my beauty sponge to blend immediately to avoid any harsh lines. So after that, I'm going to be setting the concealer using my merak setting powder in the shade Cinnamon. But before setting, I went back with my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath the eyes. To avoid creasing, then I went ahead to set. So while setting, do not pack too much setting powder. Take it one step at a time. After setting the concealer on the highlighted area, I'm going to be setting the rest of her face with this Avour powder in the shade 15. So if you want to set the rest of your face, it's important to use the exact shade of your skin tone to set the rest of your face. Do not use a shade lighter or darker. Make sure the shade you're using matches with your skin color. After setting the rest of her face, moving on to dry contouring, which is low light contouring, I'm going to be using this shade here from my becharmn powder palette to set the cream contour that I applied earlier. After that, I'm going to be mixing these two shades from the same powder palette to set her nose contour. The reason why I mixed the two was because if I use the darker one, just only the darker one, it would make the nose look too dark. That was why I mixed these two shades so it would look mild on the face. After that, moving on to powder blush, I'm going to be using this cheesecake powder. I'm going to be mixing these two shades from this powder palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. So next I'm going to be applying a lighter shade of powder from the same powder palette on the highlighted area just to give it a little bit of coverage. After that, I'm going to be using my powder brush to blend everything together. So after blending everything together, I'm going to be setting the face with my Kiss Beauty Spray. This is going to help reduce the powder effect and also help the products that are applied on the skin dry, like absorb properly into the skin. After that, I dried it all before moving on to baking. For baking, I'm going to be using the same setting powder I used to set her face to bake her face. So after baking, moving on to the eyebrows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. And I went ahead using my brow tamer to lay the brows nicely. So after that, moving on to eyeshadow, I'm going to be using my Viange eyeshadow base to prime her lid first. After priming the lid, I'm going to be blending it immediately. After blending it, I had to add some setting powder on the areas underneath her eyes to avoid fallout from the eyes. Then I went ahead to apply the eyeshadow. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this shade here from my Anniesbeauty eyeshadow palette. So I started applying it from the outer corner using my eyeshadow blending brush, then gently blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. After that, I'm going to be doing the other eyes following the same method. So next, I'm going to be using this febble eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be taking this shade here. I'm going to be using it to blend out the first eyeshadow. So I'm applying it on her crease, blending it properly so that there won't be any demarcation. After that, I'm going to be doing the other eyes following the same method. So I went back applying this eyeshadow, the first eyeshadow. I went back applying it again because I really want it to pop. After that, I went back with the second eyeshadow blending brush I used to apply the second eyeshadow. So I went back using the brush to blend again, so there won't be any demarcation. So next, I went back with the first eyeshadow brush I used. I went back using it to blend again, blending the outer corner of her lid. So after that, I went back with the eyeshadow blending brush I used to apply the eyeshadow base. I went back using the brush to blend the inner corner of her lid. So next, I'm going to be using this shade here from my Blossom eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be using my brush to gently place it on the inner corner of her lid. After that, I went back with that same eyeshadow blending brush I used the first time. I went back using it to blend so that there won't be any demarcation. After blending, I'm going to be adding some setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to define the lid. So next is to line her upper and lower lash line. I'm going to be using my carrot gel liner, the black color. After that, I'm going to be prepping her natural lashes with my Zaron mascara in order to give it volume. After that, I'm going to be wearing her this lashes from AG Lashes. So as you can see, the hairstylist just removed the hairband and there's a demarcation between the hairline and the makeup, but worry not, I'm going to correct it. So what I did was to use her contour shade, the foundation I used to contour her face. I just took a little of it, mixed it with a little bit of her foundation color, just a little bit of the foundation color, then used my brush to gently cover it up so that it do not show. After that, I'm going to be setting it with these two shades of powder from the same powder palette. So after that, I'm going to be pressing her natural and false lashes together. So moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner, the brown shade, to draw her brows, following the shape of her brows using my brow brush. After drawing her brows, I'm going to be highlighting the brows with the same concealer I used to highlight the face. So I'm only highlighting her underbrow. After highlighting, I used my blending brush to blend it immediately so it doesn't get dry and look tacky. Then I went ahead to do the other brows following the same method. After that, I'm going to be setting the concealer with a lighter shade of powder from the same powder palette. After that, I used my eyeshadow blending brush to blend again so there won't be any demarcation. So next, I'm going to be prepping her lower lashes with the same Zaron mascara. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using my lip pencil to outline her lip. Next, I'm going to be adding this peach color from my Blossom lip palette. I'm going to be applying it in the middle just to brighten up the lip. Then I went ahead adding this nude color. After that, I added this gloss. After that, I went back to outline the lip again. So next, I went back applying more blush on her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. After that, I used my powder brush to blend. After that, I went back to dust off the excess powder on her face. Then I went back touching her nose again to properly snatch her nose. After that, I'm going to be using my powder brush to blend everything together. After blending everything together, I'm going to be setting the face with my Kiss Beauty spray. So while setting, I always like to cover the lip and the eyeshadow so that the setting spray doesn't ruin it. After that, I'm going to be using my fan to dry it properly into the skin. After drying, I'm going to be applying highlighter. So I'm going to be using my Yanga Beauty highlighter. I'm going to be applying it on the places I want the highlights to be. After that, I added a little highlighter here. So next I'm going to be using my Msmetic cheek glaze. I'm going to be applying it on her face. This is going to help the face to glow. After that, I used my powder brush to touch the face for the last time, and also used my spoolie brush to brush her brows for the last time. You guys, can you see how flawless this makeup look on her face? After that, I'm going to be setting the face with my Beauty spray. After setting it, guys, this is the finished look. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.